Hey everyone, Alan Schimmel, DevOps.com, DevOps TV, and we're here at Does 17 San Francisco, wrapping up day one. Happy to be joined by Tim Russell of Perforce.
Great to be here, Alan. Thanks
Tim,
for having me.
thank you for being here. So Tim, Perforce is a funny little story. A lot of people in the DevOps space may not be familiar and say, oh, another DevOps startup. Well, this is a 15, 16, 18
Yeah, almost
year old,
20, I think.
20-year-old startup. Perforce has been around a long time. An early pioneer in the version control space.
That's right.
And for a long time, that's kind of where your bread and butter was version control. And the thing about it is, the old saying, if you stay around long enough, everything comes
Wraps back around, yes.
And you've seen the rise of things like Git and repositories and all of these things. And yet Perforce has remained relevant.
We have, and we're actually, what I call it is we're in Perforce 2.0. We're really transforming the company to take everything we've learned about version control for scale. We have some of the largest customers in the world who are building sort of the next generation software, whether it be companies like VMware, and taking all those learnings and say, how does this apply now to build things faster and to automate more things and to really deliver more innovation and quality to the market faster, which is really the foundation, I think, of DevOps.
Yes, it is. Fantastic. And so, Tim, we mentioned Git, and this was, at one point, I remember when I first launched DevOps.com 4.5 years ago, this whole issue of should Perforce support Git or be a competitor to Git, but adopting sort of a DevOps mentality.
Yeah,
we all work together.
We do, and this is one of probably the best story we have at Perforce is that we've taken all the learnings and the strengths of being able to manage repositories and content at scale, geographic scale, repository size scale, size of file scale, and applied it to Git as well. So we now, inside of the Perforce versioning engine, support native Git repositories. So if you have hundreds to thousands, maybe even tens of repositories you're trying to manage the content for, instead of having them thrown all, what machine is it on, what's the latest version, who's got it, we can manage that centrally and still allow you to use all those same Git tools that you're familiar with.
Yep. Excellent. Now, Tim, about, I guess it's probably a year and a half ago, Perforce had a little bit of not a course change, but a strengthening, if we can call it that. New CEO, new executive team came in, headquarters in Minneapolis now, we're formerly in the Bay Area. And part of that mandate was to make it Perforce 2.0, if I think as you mentioned it off camera.
Yep.
And talk to us, what is Perforce 2.0 about?
So Perforce 2.0, about 2 years ago, the company was acquired by a private equity firm, new management team, and we really reset the strategy of the company and to really orient towards what we call DevOps at scale. And that included not only some of the organic development I just talked about with moving into the Git era, as well as our core strengths that we've always had, but acquiring companies. So we've acquired 3 companies. We now do everything from planning at scale, so portfolio and project management, as well as what I'll call sort of maybe traditionally ALM, but focus on requirements and test case management. So that organizations that are really trying to get oriented towards Agile, all the way through delivery of that product at scale, now we have a portfolio of products we can offer to them.
Excellent. Tim, another part of this Perforce 2.0, as you mentioned, is with DevOps at scale, but there's been some acquisitions. Why don't we, and they are, they expand the Perforce offering. Talk to us a little bit about these acquisitions.
Yeah, so the acquisitions, if you think about the DevOps lifecycle, and you think about the plan and to delivery, plan, create, delivery side of that DevOps lifecycle, and the other side would be the release to operate. So we're focused on the portfolio, both through acquisition and through our organic on the left-hand side. If I say the left-hand side, the plan through delivery.
Understood.
And so the acquisitions, we've done 3. 2 of them have been in the portfolio management, portfolio planning, lifecycle management part of the lifecycle. So how do you manage test cases? How do you get control of requirements? How do you manage a large-scale portfolio backlog and then schedule that into an agile development lifecycle.
Yep.
And link that all the way into what you deliver. One of the acquisitions that we now call Helix ALM,
Sure.
really strong in the what I'll call regulated industries, where there's a regulator that wants to see what you designed or what you decided was a requirement. Did it actually get delivered and tested? So think medical device, think automotive, where there's an audit requirement, some regulatory requirement. And then the third acquisition we did, which we now call Helix Team Hub, was a technology acquisition that really put us on par from a development perspective with companies like GitLab and GitHub, where you've got developer productivity, developer collaboration, native Git, all of those attributes that you're really looking for to accelerate that dev part of the lifecycle.
And that's a big, in the dev world,
Yes.
right? That's a really big part of this. So what's next for Perforce?
So as we've stated, our strategy going forward is to really build out this DevOps at scale. When I say that, it's what's the foundation? How do you really enable that downstream automation, whether it's build all the way through operate? You got to have a solid foundation that you're building your product from. Can you do that at scale? Can you harness the innovation of a distributed development team that might have a game studio in Singapore and a software development team in Vancouver and another team that's somewhere in the US? How do you harness that innovative spirit and do that at scale and keep the predictability? Deliver those content, deliver those releases, do it on a predictable scale. So for us, organic development, as well as adding to the portfolio through acquisitions, that'll fill out that portfolio.
Sounds like a formula for success.
We're having a great time. It's a lot of fun. We're taking on new customers, growing. We're really excited about what the future holds for us.
Great. Let's talk one last question about Does.
Yes.
You guys are sponsoring and exhibiting here. Any feedback from the team?
So far, the feedback is great. This is actually right aligned, the sort of DevOps at scale, DevOps for the enterprise, complex organizations. It's really struggling to sort of do that end-to-end DevOps. And it's really fascinating to hear some of the experiences of large organizations and how they sort of tackled parts of the problem and come out with a positive outcome for the company.
Fantastic. Tim Russell, Perforce, thanks for being our guest.
Thanks, Alan. It's great to be here.
Perforce 2.0.
Yes.
Here at DevOps Enterprise Summit. This is Alan Schimmel for DevOps.com and DevOps TV.